Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, anybody and everybody, goblins, kobolds, dwarves, and genasi as well, it's that time again for another set of MrRipper stories hosted by yours truly, Brian Von VA. Today we're going to be exploring the concept of critical roles. Not the critical role, but the actual act of rolling a critical. That said, if you have a story you'd like to share, please leave it in the comments below, because Daddy Algorithm would really appreciate that one. Please do it, do it, do it. That said, what are your stories of critical roles? Spoilers for potentially Dragon Heist and I think Dungeon of the Mad Mage based on what I'm reading ahead slightly, but that's just me metagaming, don't worry. Well, we're actually playing Dungeon of the Mad Mage, but our party ended up making a commitment to the people of Skullport to rid the dying city of Xanathar's guild. One thing led to another, and our DM had to buy a whole separate module just so that we could enter the guild. We were fighting our way through Xanathar's guild halls beneath Waterdeep and ended up in the area with all kinds of nasty things. Kuatoa, mind flayers, intellect devourers, etc. My character Torxina and our paladin, Angela, whom you likely know from all the art Doodle Poodle tirelessly makes plug into you, Doodle Poodle, both got stunned by one of the Mind Flayer's Mind Blast attacks. Unfortunately, somehow our party had lost track of one of the surviving intellect devourers. The creature emerged from a blind spot around a corner and walked right up to the stunned paladin. Oh no. Naturally, it used its body thief ability. Going full Ginyu Force, I imagine, which requires a straight-up intelligence contest between the intellect devourer and the target. You lose, you're gone forever. Your brain gets eaten and replaced by this vile creature, who then uses your body as a puppet. No further saves, no revivify, you're gone. The DM rolls for the intellect devourer. We have no idea what it rolled. All we knew was Angie was one roll away from being gone, with her story, her hopes and dreams, and her quest to save her father, ending in such a horrid way. Angie's player, heavy-hearted and still processing how in the world it came to this, rolls as well. Silence befalls our Discord, and the clacking of Roll20's animated 3D dice evokes chills down our spines. The cold, indifferent rocks of fate tumble and come to a halt. And there it is, that beautiful, wonderful green 21. A nat 20 with Angela's own bonus of +1. The amount of joy and elation and absolute astonishment from the entire table was deafening. My heart was beating out of my chest, and it wasn't even my character that was in danger. That's when the DM informed us of what the creature had rolled, and that if Angie's player had rolled anything, and I mean anything, other than a nat 20, she would have died. She had to have a nat 20 to survive. And she got it. What a moment. Unbelievable how close we came to losing her. Hey look, that paladin's god, that was watching out for you and that dice roll. 10 out of 10. I was playing a noble in disguise as a commoner, and one of the players in the group had coincidentally, I hope, made an edgy rogue character, whom they decided hated nobles for backstory reasons, you know. So much so that we learned later, by her own player's admission, that she'd even try to kill another party member if they turned out to be a noble. Because of how high all the other PC's passive perceptions were, only a natural 20 for deception could prevent my character from being brutally slaughtered in the first session. Though, again, I didn't know it at the time. The DM has me roll to see how good my disguise really was, which ended up being the first natural 20 in the campaign. Luckily, the aforementioned player wasn't the metagaming type, so they played fair in my deception. And by the time the rest of the party worked out that he was a noble, that player was long gone, having left of their own volition. TLDR, nat 20 deception quite literally saved my character's life, and perhaps the game, depending on the fallout from a failed roll. Note that the roll didn't seem important at the time, but it absolutely was in retrospect. Alright, I got one. The paladin dies and goes to hell. I just can't. That's beautiful. Story done. Long story. Party chases him down to save him. Oracle ends up challenging the devil to a guitar duel. Because it's D&D, why not? Should have been a fiddle. I play The Devil Went Down to Georgia, more validation for the fiddle, cover from Guitar Hero 3, because Guitar Hero is the peak of media. Had the Oracle and the Devil roll opposing perform checks that added into a pool, where one's check added to the score, and the opponent's check subtracted from it. And whoever had a higher score at the end of the song won the Paladin's soul. The Devil is winning, slowly but surely, and the party needs a big roll to turn the tide in their favor. Oracle hits a nat 20 right as all the instruments in the track drop away, except for this insane guitar solo. It was the most perfect timing, signed from the god-type rolls that I have ever witnessed. The party won. I need that story about how the paladin just dies and goes to hell. I need that, please, in the comments below. Tag me in it. Tag me. Tag Ripper. I don't care. I need to know. A tiefling rogue in my party rolled to identify a berry bush, but didn't have any proficiency in nature. I told him he needed a natural 20 to identify it. Naturally, wink wink, he rolled it. So with a sigh, I told him the bush was carnivorous and used its delicious berries to lure people to it, so it can latch onto them and strangle them. Go into vivid detail even about how dangerous it is. Delicious berries, you say? Says the rogue, who then tells me, I want to pick some berries. To which I clarify, with your hands. He nods. Are you at least being stealthy? No, why would I? It's just a bush. So then I proceeded to describe how the bush wraps around him and the rest of the party beat the crap out of him to get the bush off him. Darwin Award. As the rogue was bleeding out, he again rolled a nat 20 on his death saves. When he woke up, he found out that the berry bush was destroyed. The warlock then asked, Aren't you an arcane trickster? Why didn't you use Mage Hand? The rogue with a whimper says, I just wanted some berries. Moral of the story. Even a nat 20 can't stop someone from making bad decisions. So, picture this. We just finished off a horrifying necrotic cannibal who had been terrorizing the whole continent's crops. We investigate his evil lair, filled with creepy statues, abyssal writing on the wall, and come across this demon mirror. Basically magic mirror FaceTime. And when my companion uses it, they're put in contact with a higher-up demon, like a third-in-command of a lesser god. Kinda sounds like Dragon Age 2's plot for Meryl. He's annoyed we killed the demon, but insists that me and my companions take his book of contracts and fill it up. My light cleric Divina wasn't having it. As a staunch anti-demon and anti-necrotic magic user, she sits down at the demon mirror to try and prank call or tell off the demon. But he sees her, smirks, and the statues come to life and restrain her with a massive physical hold. Then I couldn't break, nor could my companions. Not knowing what else to do, I do a literal Hail Mary. DM has me roll a religion check. Nat 20. The DM was shocked, paused, and described the demon disconnecting, the mirror shattering, the book of contracts burning away, the statues crumbling away to griffins, the symbol of her god of light, and the abyssal writing being replaced by common telling us to leave this place. This also cut out a minor subplot. Sadly, Divina died later in the campaign, but I'm so glad she had such an epic story. Also, can I just say, as the narrator, I am very much invested in this little subplot, but I love the idea of the abyssal writing especially being replaced by common. It's like the god of light itself literally saying, leave, children. This is a place you don't want to be. You know, it's just like it left a permanent scar in that area. I love it. About 4 or 5 sessions before we completed the campaign, the party was traveling up the 9 hells to reach a specific level and complete a task given to us by a god. We started at the lowest level, Nessius, and had successfully made our way through Cania. Then we reached Maladramini. My Wood Elf Ranger, previously mentioned in a video on the dm.exe crashing, and 2 others, a pair of wizards, were separated from the rest of the party in a maze as we sought a way to the Carnival Eternal, separated from the rest of the party in a devil-infested maze. You know, like idiots. And wouldn't you know it, We ran into the pit fiend, summoner variant, of course, who called the center of its maze its home. We needed a ton of damage to even hold this thing off, at least till the rest of the party could reach and help us fight. My Elf Ranger Gloomstalker subclass got not 1, not 2, but 3 critical rolls in a row with her 3 opening attacks. The fun part was our DM for the campaign had implemented effect cards, which if you got a critical fail or nat 20, you drew from the respective deck. Then you used the effects which were applicable to you, including any additional damage they granted. The cards I pulled were double damage on a critical damage roll plus the effect Bleed Out. Every time the Pit Fiend's turn ended, his max health was halved. Ooh, that's dirty. Max damage and lip shot. An arrow pierced his lips, preventing him from using his words to cast spells. Not that the Pit Fiend needed to speak to cast spells, but it fit thematically as my elf was tired of hearing him speaking. Target is knocked prone and drops whatever they were holding. Thanks to those rolls, we managed to hold out for our party to collect together and beat the Pit Fiend. DM said if we had not gotten those rolls, we would have been rolling new characters by the end of the session. Also, I love the idea of effect cards, and, oddly enough, that sounds just like the silence spell in most games like Final Fantasy, so, hey, that DM is very creative and pretty cool. DM here. I was hosting a modified descent into Avernus, just in case there might be minor spoilers, I don't know though. The party is level 6 and consists of an Aasimar Watcher Paladin, a human moon druid, a human thief rogue, human eldritch knight, fighter, and minotaur beast barbarian. I have my own human devotion paladin to guide them a little. The party is in Elternal. That is dragged into Avernus, hell. They were tasked to investigate a temple and the graveyard for story progression. Mid-journey, my DM PC halts and says, "Hey, this is the office of the High Overseer. Do you all want to take a look to see if we can get any information?" The party agrees and opens the door. To their surprise, a chain devil was writing something in the office and told them to leave if they do not have an appointment. The party closes the door and strategizes to take it down. The Minotaur rages and rushes in, only to find the devil hiding in the corner to plan an ambush. The Minotaur avoids the chandelier that fell from the ceiling, but got wrapped up by 4 chains, being completely immobilized and taking extreme damage every turn. The Aasimar pulled 1 chain off successfully, and the rest began fighting the devil and the other chains. I told the barbarian he needs to roll a nat 20 on athletics to break free. He failed and gets strangled by the chains. At the start of his next turn, he is on critically low health. I told him to roll once more. He rolls a 9 and a 20. In complete disbelief, the Minotaur displays levels of rage only rivaled by Baphomet in his body and shatters the chains around him. The devil fell prone in shock. The barbarian turned it into a fine red mist that same turn. I imagine he would have stomped that little bastard's head in. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid as per usual, representing and narrating for MrRipper because I just love that man. Plus I love all of you, so to share that love back to me, to Ripper, and to the rest of the crew, please leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and leave a comment too, because the algorithm gods demand it. More so, we just want to know what your critical roles were and just how they played out. So tell us your story, share it down below. You can also do so on our subreddit r/MrRipper, but the comment section is a lovely little gold trove for us. Now, if you want to come follow me, Brian Von VA, you can do so anywhere you want. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. I mostly stream on Twitch for now, so come on over, say hi. My links are in the description below under my website, brianvonva.com. And I try to end things on a positive note. I just want to share one quick little story of my very first role ever in D&D. Ever, and I mean ever. This was, I think, during the first MrRipper D&D stream. And what happened was my half-orc barbarian was tasked with basically just kind of standing around being aloof, because that's what my character was. He was just kind of there. We were in a basement, and I know MrRipper's character, a paladin, he didn't quite know what to do, and he was kind of nervous, in and out of character. Whereas Dave, he was just taking initiative left, right, and center and not knowing, you know, how to actually solve the problem that we were having. But we all discerned that there was a floor or a room beneath this basement. So for me, I, being a barbarian, I could discern that there was a breeze coming from the corners and cracks in the floor, and without any warning, my barbarian decided the best course of action was, well, as according to Dave, we needed to get down there. So I looked at the DM, which I believe his name was like Waffle or something, and I said, I roll to literally Hulk smash the floor with both of my fists. What would that have to be? He's like, oh, that'd be a strength check. And I'm like, would a nat 20 do it? And he says, oh, that'll do it beautifully. So I like nat 20'd my very first roll ever, shattered the floor, dropped everyone to the bottom, bar Dave and MrRipper. And the old man that actually owned the place, he was on the bottom. He's like, what the hell just happened? And I'm like, we needed to get down. I got down. So there's my critical roll there. I crit shit beat the hell out of a floor. I love you all. Please be safe, be happy, and I hope you enjoyed that little minor laughter of a story I had. And we will see you guys next time. Be safe out there.